Hi, this is Ela, and I'm going to do another demonstration of how to do backgrounds. Last one I did was for this one, where I got the whole paper wet with water, and then I put some swirly colors on top. But what if you want your background to be a solid color, and you really want it to be a particular value? You don't want these lights and darks that we see in this one. You want it to be like more intense. So I've got my little lobster here. Here's my little lobster that I copied. And I'm going to keep going with these colors, but I'm going to mix them together. So I'm going to take this darker green and put it in with that cobalt teal. And let's see what that looks like when I test it. A little darker still. I'm going to make it more intense. I'm going to keep going. Add more phthalo blue. Still want it to be kind of greenish. So let's see, this is green gold here. I like this color a lot. Let's see what that looks like. Let's add more cobalt teal. So I mess around a lot with my colors. You don't race in there. Make sure you like what you have before you go in there. See if you can get interested in this process. That's looking better. I like that. Okay, cool. All right. And I think I have enough. That's a lot of paint that I just mixed. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you a trick. So I'm going to go solid. I'm not going to get it wet first. Once again, if I got it wet with clear water, you're going to get the water mixing in with your color. And I don't want any water mixing in with my color. I want it to be this level of intensity. And it's going to dry lighter than that. So, I don't want it to be even more pale by doing the water first. I feel like I'm playing with fire by touching it against that red there, but here we go. So I am going to show you a trick. So instead of coloring it in flat like this, I'm going to turn it so that it's more vertical. And what it means is that when I color back and forth, it's a shorter distance. It's easier to get all the way across. And also I'm going to tilt my paper up slightly. I'm going to take something and literally tilt it up a little bit. So if I tilt it up, gravity is going to pull the paint downward. I know it may look a little bit odd from your camera angle, but yeah, so tilting it makes this whole process much easier. So I've stirring my brush up in that paint, making sure that it's really mixed in and that cobalt teal is not settling. And I'm going all the way across left to right. This is how you get a really smooth, even background color. You can see how there's this dark area right there where the paint is pooling. That is good. We want that. What it means is it's not going to dry there. It's not going to dry there for a really long time because it's extra wet. There's extra water, extra moisture right in that area. I chose a really complicated thing to do, but I figured, hey, you probably aren't going to be doing anything this complicated. It's good to show that this technique really works. So I've divided this wash into two sides. I've got this stuff on the left here, making sure it's very juicy. And now I can go and just start coloring in over here on the right side. I can do this for a little while. I'm okay. Because that is not going to dry out. It's got that bead of paint. Oops. I can just color, color, color. I can go for a while. Once again, I'm using a 10 brush. I'm not using a small brush. You want a brush that's on the big side. And it's nice that it has a point because it means I can go into these little tiny detailed areas. I keep, dipping my brush, stirring it around. I don't care if that's there. That's outside the border of my picture. So I'm just going on. Now, if I want to go and do the other side, it's nice to do it when you're in a narrow area. I went a little beyond that area, but here it is. So that, now I've got a bead over here. This isn't going to dry out. Look, I can spread this out. It's not a big deal. It didn't dry out because I kept it pretty wet. I can get into that claw with that pointy tip. I could even tilt it around if I want to run that paint out of that claw so it doesn't just settle there. We're dealing with water and gravity. Water and gravity. We can really see it because it has that pigment in there. Now we've got this little area down in here that we're coloring in. Once I'm done coloring in this area, I can focus on that outer edge. Again, here we go, another little area. Coloring in with the pointed tip. Now we have a really narrow area. Look how narrow that is. So that's really easy to keep wet. I mean, I could do most of the picture, or at least a good chunk of it. That would be kind of daredevil to do the whole rest of the picture. I don't know if that would be a good idea, but you can go for a long time. I mean, I'm almost at the bottom of this picture here on the right side. Okay, let's continue on the left. Let's color that in. If I want to clean up these areas, see, I've got a brush here. I can go suck up that little puddle. We don't really want those pools right there. Going back in again, coloring in on that left side. Using that point to go all the way in there. We don't save that till the end. We just go in there and then quickly color it in. Just going fast. And now look, we're at the bottom. I can pull this stuff from the left all the way to the right. My left hand's cramping up a little bit from holding it up, but it's working. Sometimes you get a little bit lighter here and a little bit darker towards the bottom, especially when you have granulating colors, and I do have that cobalt teal is a granulating color. But I mean, I can basically lay it flat now because I've done all that pulling. All that gravity worked for me. And now, woohoo! If you ever see a painting with a really smooth, even background, or even just a really large area that's very smoothly, cleanly filled in, that is a huge accomplishment. Hats off to whoever did it. This is a challenging technique. You can see how this is harder. If you watch this video is much easier. We just got everything wet and had played with color on top. But if you want something to be smooth and perfect like this, this is a bigger challenge. And now the question is, what do you do with all those areas in between? You just get a small brush, and this is easy in comparison. You just color it in. Start at one end and make your way, color in the whole thing. Just keep in mind, what is the background? What is the object? What is going to be orange-red later? And this looks much darker now. I rinsed it out. I wiped it off with a paper towel or my fingers. I can lift some of that paint off if I want to, just so it matches that background. It doesn't look like it's two separate things. So I just keep going around till I've done the whole thing. And once it's totally bone dry, then I can color in the lobster and turn it around. And also, you know, you can do the background first, or you can do the object first. I'm doing the background first for this. Often I do the, more often than not, I do the subject, which is the lobster first, in this case. But that's it. So now I'll just keep going and coloring the other side. Let it dry completely. And then you do the lobster. So that's how you do an even one-colored background. All right, give it a try if you dare.